Howdy folks, this is Big Sam. Today I'm going to show you the most absolutely wretched, horrible thing that I've ever seen. As you can see in this picture, we've got a Mosin Nagant that, well, something bad happened to it, is really the short story. And I thought it would be fitting to show you this in MS Paint because this gun and MS Paint kind of deserve each other. So what are we looking at here? Well, that's a really good question. Based on what we know, this is a Finnish corporal in 1942 near the region called Lahdenpohja, and what appears to be holding a trophy gun. Of course, I guess that depends on what your definition of trophy is. I'm sure you've heard the expression, one man's junk is another man's treasure. I think in this case, a more suitable phrase would be one man's junk is another man's trash heap. That really appears to be what we have here. I mean, just look at this man's face. I don't think he's very impressed about what he's holding. What appears to have happened here is this was a Soviet's rifle that was captured, and it's got this horrible thing going down here at the stock. This is a really crude repair. What we can infer here is, I mean, zoom in a little bit, it appears that there's a crack here. We can see like these two cracks here and here, and it seems to be the origination of whatever horrible thing mangled the rest of this stock that warranted some wretched repair like this. I mean, it kind of looks like a shoe cobbler got a hold of this. It really does look like some sort of shoe repair. It's really interesting. If we go up here to the top, though, it gets very strange. So what are we looking at here? Well, this is actually not a 9130 rifle, even though that would have been the standard issue rifle at the time in 1942 for the Soviet Army. This appears to be an M91, and based on what we know, they were issued by the Soviets during the Finnish Continuation War, although it wasn't the main issue rifle. They used what they had, and I think this is a really good example of that. If this actually was a Soviet rifle, but we'll get more into that here in a little bit. So up here we can see this guy right here. That is the spring that's supposed to hold the barrel band in place. This is present on every 9130 stock. Now, the rifle, the barrel here appears to be too long for a 9130. That's why I say this is an M91. But it has a 9130 stock, okay? And it also worth noting that it does not have a handguard here. Now, why is that? Well, mainly because it wouldn't work. So it gets weirder if we look at the front barrel band. This is a Type 2 late pattern M91 barrel band, which does not belong on a 9130 rifle at all. It has a little screw right here, and the screw helps clamp the barrel band, and that barrel band then provides the tension on the barrel and handguard if there was a handguard. In this case, there's no handguard. But it's strange because that does not belong on a 9130 stock at all. So for some reason, they've decided to put that on here. And also appears that there's like a little screw here retaining it, so it doesn't like wobble back and forth a lot. That's pretty common to see on these as well. Now, an M91 handguard wouldn't work because the front handguard, which it interfaces with, is way too close to the back of the gun here. It's not far up enough. So an M91 handguard would be too long to put on here, so that wouldn't work. And a 9130 handguard wouldn't work because, well, it has the wrong barrel band on it. So all of this is very kind of strange. Now, it's also interesting if we look back here at this rear sight. This is the Konovalov rear sight. And I mean, we're really counting pixels here, but if you look right here, it appears that there's an extra notch cut in the sight base. Now, this was typical on M91 rifles, and really any rifle with a Konovalov used by the Finnish army. And we'll have another video on this, but essentially what happened was these guns were sighted in with the bayonet fixed. And pretty much every other country in the world thought that was a stupid idea. So anyone that didn't want to have to use this rifle with a bayonet had to re-sight it in. Well, if you take the bayonet off, these guns shoot way high. So one of the remedies of that is you cut a notch in the rear sight base and you can lower the rear sight. That helps the gun not shoot as high. So this was a modification typically done by Finland. Did the Soviets do this? Well, we don't think they did. Because again, even at this time, it carried that doctrine of having the bayonet fixed to the rifle carried over to the 9130 rifle. So it wouldn't make a ton of sense that a Soviet soldier would have done this. So that kind of begs the question then, is this a Soviet rifle? It appears to be a war trophy. I mean, certainly no one in Finland would have done this, probably. Is it possible that this is actually not a war trophy, but it was a rifle that one of the Finnish soldiers made? Well, it's possible, but again, it's really unlikely that the Finns would have done this because they were way more careful about using good quality stocks and weapons and gear than the Soviets were. And they had a lot less men. They had to spend way more time focusing on using the smaller manpower and resources that they had more efficiently and putting it to better use. So would something like this have gotten by? I doubt it. So really this gun is a bit of a mystery. We don't really know what it is, why it exists, but I thought it was worth making a video to show you guys because, well, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. And sometimes when we look at things and try to get answers, we ended up with more questions than we did when we started the whole thing. So yeah, stay tuned guys. Let me know if you like this type of video. We'll definitely be doing more things like this in the future. It's cool to look at neat pictures because you know, there can be pictures we see, maybe we've seen it 1,000 times, but if we look at it a little bit closer, there'll be little things in it that we didn't notice before. So I really like to spend time looking at photos because they can really tell us a lot. And it's interesting the stuff we glance over sometimes, like this little notch here in the rear sight. You just never know what you'll find. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if y'all got any prayer requests, and I'll see y'all on the next video.